long week. But you know what? The weekend has finally arrived. Thank you. But anyway, I've got a nice little tutorial for you guys, especially you Nintendo lovers out there. I'll be going over this so-called Wii64 emulator for the Wii. Now, the past week I've been playing around with this emulator. I could never get the saves to work on any game, so I resorted to Googling it, going on YouTube, trying to find the answers. I found nothing. Now maybe somebody's solved it and just hasn't posted it anywhere. But I did see this one post. This guy mentioned that it was a bug within the emulator itself. But guys, I'm here to tell you tonight that the save states do work. There's just a certain order in which you have to boot up the game to get it to work. So I'll be showing you here in a minute. I'll be taking you over to the computer and I'll be showing you my little secret, or should I say the developer's little secret. Alright guys, the first thing we need to do, we need to get this emulator onto our SD card. Now there are two places you can download this emulator. You can simply Google it. Just type in Wii64 and it should be this first website here, the Weebrew website. So we'll go into it. This is where you can get the beta 1.1 version, and you can simply come down here to the download link. Just simply click on this and it'll download to a zip file which you have to unzip. The second way you can download this is by means of your homebrew browser on your Wii. Now that's the simplest way to actually do this, is simply because once you download it, it creates all the folders and files that are needed and places these folders and files to the correct locations in order for this emulator to work correctly. So that's pretty much the easiest way that you can do this. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to do it manually just to show you what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and click this download tab here, and we're going to go with this first one right here. I'll come over to there, just click this. It will ask you the directory in which to save your file. I always go to my desktop, and it will, as you can see, it's downloading. It don't take very long. It's a very small file. So here's our zip file here, guys. We're going to unzip it to a folder here. Here's our folder. Within the folder we have two other folders and a readme file. Now this readme file, guys, it usually just tells about the emulator. It usually tells you how to set it up or whatever. It can be very useful sometimes, so you can look into that. Now as for this apps folder, if you don't already have this apps folder on your SD card, you just simply drag and drop this onto the root of your SD card. Now if you already do have this apps folder like I have, you just take the contents of that folder, which is this Wii64, this is your actual emulator, and you would just drag and drop it into your apps folder on your SD card. As simple as that. As for this folder, depending on where you want to boot your games up and save it, save all your games, this folder has to be either on your SD card or your hard drive, or both. I mean, if you want to boot up a game from your hard drive or flash drive and you want to save to your SD card, you have to have this folder on both devices. So this is where your ROMs are going to go, right in this area here. And once you start saving all your games, your saves will show up right here. It's as simple as that. And I will show you my setup. this is my SD card here. There's that apps folder I was talking about, and within this apps folder, I scroll down, and here is my emulator right here, like I was showing you earlier. So we're going to back out of it. I don't have that folder in here yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to simply just take this folder, drag, and drop it right inside on the root of an SD card, just like so. That's all you have to do. Now in my case, I'm not putting any ROMs in here. I'm just simply using this folder to, say, save games or whatever. And two, this is just for the sake of this tutorial. I never save on my SD card. I always save on my USB. Okay. And here's my USB hard drive right here. I'm going to click into it. I scroll down, here's that folder right here, the Wii64 folder, and this is where I have all my ROMs, right here. And this is where I usually save all my games here, but I've deleted all of them now, just for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, so we're set to go. Now we can mosey on over to the Wii, and I'll be showing you the next steps. Okay guys, now that we have everything that we need on our SD card as well as our hard drive, now we can get started here. If you guys don't know how to create a channel like I have here, you can simply go to YouTube. I imagine they got some kind of a tutorial or whatever on how to do this, or you can Google it or whatever. But you simply just find a WAD file or some kind of a forwarder, and you would use a WAD manager like I have here to install a channel like I have here. If not, you can always go to your homebrew channel and load up all your emulators that way if you want. But I prefer the channels. So let's boot this emulator up here that we're going to be using. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into settings here. Now depending on where you want to save to, say you want to save to your SD card, you need to make sure you have these two highlighted. You don't necessarily have to have this one highlighted. This is the native saves. This is like if you back out of a game, it automatically saves it, but I do it anyway. But anyway, what you do, you highlight these two, and then you come down here to this tab, and you want to save the settings config file to your SD, just like that. Okay. Now if you want to save on your USB, you'd come over here to your USB tabs and highlight those, and then you simply hit this tab here to save the settings config file to your USB. Okay. Now that that's done, I can save on either one I want. Now the first game that I'm gonna save to the SD card here. So I'm gonna highlight these two. All right. I'm gonna back out of it, and then you simply just load your ROM. Some of you guys like to load from your SD card. I load all mine from my USB. I'm gonna find my game here. Bomberman Hero is the one I'm gonna use. I'm gonna be saving this one to my SD card. You simply load it up and simply start the game. I use a GameCube controller to do this, to play my games. You can't use your Wii remote. You have to use a GameCube controller or something. But we'll just try to hurry up and get through this right here real quick. Okay. Alright, area 1. Now guys, I'm going to be making 2 saves just to show you that it works. The first save I'm going to do is going to be on this floating platform. And how you save it, you simply just back out of the game. You get your Wii remote, and your buttons 1 and 2, you would hit at the same time to back out. Go to your current ROM, and you can choose a slot 0 through 9. I'm going to select 0 first, and you just simply hit save. And it mentions that the gameplay will be saved once resumed. So you have to go back into your game, resume your game, and it will save it. Okay? For my second save, I'm going to go over here by my favorite tree, favorite shade tree. Okay? Just like that right there. I'm going to once again back out of the game by hitting my buttons 1 and 2 on my Wii remote at the same time. Go to current ROM. This time I'm going to select slot 1. Hit save, and once again you have to resume the game to save it. So we're going to back out of it and resume the game. Okay, now that that's saved, we can back out of the game, and I'm going to quit the emulator. I'm going to back out of the emulator, and we're going to start it back up, and I'll show you that it actually saved. Okay. So I'm going to go back into the emulator. Okay. We're going to go now. This is the part that you have to do that certain order of loading your ROM up. The first thing you would do is load your ROM. That's the first step. Okay. And then you would go in here and hit play. You have to start the game up first. Then you would back out of it. Okay. And then you go back into your current ROM tab right here. And then you would select whatever slot you saved in. Okay, well I saved in slot 0. You go to load state. And then it mentions that gameplay will resume from the save state. Back out, go to resume, and there you go. That was the first save that I did. Now that let's back out of it, and we'll go to our second save. Slot 1, load state, and it mentions that it will resume. Okay, back out of it, resume game, and there's my favorite tree. So guys, this does work. For my second game, I'm gonna save that to the USB, and that's gonna be Mario Kart. Go down here to Mario Kart. Okay. Now, since I'm saving them to my USB, I got to go back into settings here, and I have to highlight these two tabs here. Okay? Make sure you do that. Now you go to play game. Okay, here we go. Alright, we'll just go with 50cc, it don't matter, whatever. Alright. I'm gonna go with my favorite little guy, Toad here. He's a cool little guy. Yeah, I like him. But we're gonna go to our special cup here. We'll use that. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'll start off a little slow here. Okay. Okay, guys, get out of my way, guys. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. We're gonna stop right here. And this is where I'm gonna save it at, right in front of one of these question marks. I'm gonna back out of the game. I'm gonna go to current ROM. I'm gonna go to slot 0, like I did the one before. Go to save. The gameplay be saved once resumed. Again. Okay, now resume. Okay, now guys, remember that's the first save there. Then the second save is going to be by this boat. Okay, we're going to save it right there. And you see, we'll back out of it right there. Go to current ROM, slot 1, save. Okay, here we go. And resume. Okay. Now, once again, guys, we're going to quit the emulator. And we'll load it back up. Okay, let's go back into our emulator here. Okay, now guys, if you saved on your USB, when you restart the your emulator back up, it automatically defaults back to your SD card here. You see they're highlighted, so you have to go back in here and highlight these two here, these two tabs, the USB tabs. Okay, back out. Now go to load ROM. Okay. Ah, crap. Where's it at? There it is. Okay. Okay, now we'll go into play game. Okay, once it starts up, back out of it, and then you can go up to this tab, current ROM, slot 0. You want to load state, and it mentions it will resume. Back out and resume. And there we go. There's that question mark there, and then we're going to go back out once again to our current ROM, slot 1, load, resume game. And that's it, guys. As I said, it does work. You just have, there's a certain sequence that you have to follow in loading your ROM up, but yeah, all along it does work. And as I mentioned before, the Wii64 emulator that I showed you on the computer on the Wii website, and also the homebrew browser will also work the same way. Okay, it just won't load from the USB. So, okay. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope this somewhat helped you out. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below, and I'll get right back to you on that. But until then, happy gaming, and I'm going to continue on with this game here, get to a good stopping point, and save it, and then come back to it to a later at a later date, maybe tomorrow or sometime like that. But y'all have a good one.